Hello. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Berwick Select Board, October 25th, 2022. We have the entire board present, the town manager, the town clerk, member of the public, and let's stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First, we have the approval of our meeting minutes from October 11th, 2022.
So we have to make 3 amendments, and I already talked to the town clerk, but under page 4 under new business, so section 14, there's just 3 sections where we have in there the motion carried 4-0. Those were all motion carried 5-0.
Okay.
And then I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the amendment to those 3.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All right.
5, right?
Yes.
Thanks, Maddie.
All right. Next, we have no public. Oh, so first public comment. Yes, that's you, member of the public.
Thank you. Yeah.
Please state your name and your address.
Absolutely. My name is Tommy Dupree. I'm landowner on Narrow Gauge Lane. It was brought before the board last year. Change access to lot 7.21 from 2 to 6. The land that I own down there is sort of a unique piece. We've had 2 dwellings on it now. We're building another family compound down there for me and my wife, and the other 2 lots, future would be for our children. So in looking at what you guys had in place, after 2 houses, you would tire them. I got thinking private road. It's kind of hard for private landowners and road owners to maintain a road as it is. And it's hard for you guys as town people to actually tar roads. This road, as a lot of other roads in this town that folks have land, could be developed as such, private roads, to be kept as private roads, and then therefore the responsibility of the landowners. In our case, we're going to have an agreement to take care of the road maintenance agreement. So with that said, I think there's a lot of other areas here that should have access to the same thing. So last year, this was in front of the board, and they unanimously voted 5-0 to push it forward from 2 houses on a dirt road to 6. It was then put forth to you folks, and I think there were some concerns. I'm not sure what they were. And it never got to town vote. So with that said, I don't think it's a real big change. There's no impact to the town. If anything, we're trying to develop this town, beautiful town. We have a lot of rural land, a lot of landowners, a lot of folks been here a lot of years. So if they want to make something for their kids, keep their kids in town. I heard you guys talking about trying to get people to work. I've owned a plumbing and heating business for 40 years, and it's hard to get people to work. Even harder to keep people here. So when you take a unique situation like this, it's not impacting the town at all. If anything, it's taking impact off the town. A private road, the town has nothing to do with it. The town is not going to maintain it.
The private road should be up to standards for the fire department.
Absolutely.
That's the only thing I can see different.
Our road, I had Lebanon, STS, we dug that down 3 feet deep. That road's been there since 2004. I built the first house. From 2005, we erected it. 2006, we sold it. You drive down that road today, it's just as good. We continued it on the road again. I brought in 30 inches of 6-inch minus. Then we did some 3-inch. And then we did some crushed gravel. It should be a 20-foot wide road. It should be road standards, sub-base. I agree with you 1,000%. From that point, that road can be taken care of by the landowners. It's not tar. It's not impactful to the environment. I mean, look at down that neck of the woods. We worry about our water. Our watershed comes right down through there and gets into the river. Why would we want more watershed? Why would we want to put, this impact on these landowners to maintain tar? As you guys know, look at some of the roads we got that are 15, 20 years old. What do they need to be done? Retarred. After it's done, you have these owners do this. How do they redo it? The cost, the impact, the environmental impact. A dirt road can be maintained a lot easier, to your point, if we have a good subbase. Access for the fire people. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that's exactly what it should be. And I think there should be a road agreement with the landowners so they can take care of it, so there's no questions. And this should also be in place. In my case, we're going to have a couple little shim areas that you could grab some stuff if you need to shim anything. But in a good dirt road base, there shouldn't be no potholes because there's no water underneath it. That's the whole thing about a good road base. And you can tell a road that was not built with a good road base, even after it's tarred, because you end up getting these. And you get potholes because there's not a good road base under it. So, you know, in light of the board approving it, they passed it forth to you, and I believe you guys had some questions, and that sounds like that was one of them, to make sure it was brought to road standards. I agree with that 100%. And having some sort of maintenance agreement with the landowners. So I'm standing here tonight hoping that with the board's approval last time, unanimously, you folks can revisit this, put it forth to a town vote, and we can bring this to fruition. So,
Is it just family that can build on that road?
Well,
So it's up to six?
That was the other concern.
Where did you sell it?
I'll give a little bit of history.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, I was around when this was all decided, because what we were having is, I'm going to go build a compound for my family.
Yep.
Then there's a divorce, there's a death, people retire, and now all of a sudden, those 3 or 4 houses are not a family compound anymore. Something gets sold. And now we get into that area where into homeowners association and things like that for road maintenance. So now you're going to have to come in and create some kind of an association to look at that road and take care of it. Because all you need is one person on that road saying, no, I don't want to put any money into fixing it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you get into that whole hassle there. We went through this with Bromo Road, with Morrill Mills Road, where it started out as family roads, and now each one of those roads that are not improved have 10 or 15 houses on them. And that's where we run into the problem with it. It's fine and dandy as if you can keep it in one entity, you know, and keep everything in there. But 10 years, 15, 20 years from now.
So the simple thing with that would be, when they buy the house, it's on the deed. There's an association on the deed. You're buying the deed. You're buying the maintenance.
All of a sudden, you're getting
That's how
you're getting into homeowners associations and things.
It doesn't. We don't have to worry about it though.
It would be creative.
If we want to make sure that road is maintained properly, yes, we do have to get involved in that and make sure there is an association there with the bylaws, with the fees, with the dues.
Well,
that
before you
paid
get
into
a
it.
building permit, you would make sure that's all there. I would think.
The way it would have to work, for the way that you're describing, is that essentially you have a dirt road with 6 houses on it. If the 6 houses would form a road maintenance association.
Absolutely.
That would have to be built into their deeds, that not only they would have to follow it, but all future owners have to follow it.
Yep.
The code enforcement of the town would have to inspect the roads on a regular basis and make sure they're up to standard. And if they're not, then they would be basically fining these road maintenance organizations, and the road maintenance organizations would be getting all their money from the homeowners. So that's the way it would have to break down for it to make any kind of sense. And so that we can maintain the quality of the roads in perpetuity going forward.
And this isn't really the place where we should be discussing this. This is public comment. I just wanted to add to history.
But I just wanted to bring the whole thing to...
Thank you for bringing it back. And
Yes,
I think we should look at
It
it.
is
we
worth
can definitely put this
reconsidering,
onto future meeting agenda and have a more thorough discussion about it. You'd be welcome to come back and add your 2 cents there, and we can maybe get some more information to figure out what is and isn't possible.
Because if you look down on the bottom of that 7.21 and you look down to some prior years, like 87 down, that's allowed now in your laws. So it can be more than 2 houses on houses that were there. And if it's a private road, really, technically, the town shouldn't have no concern about it because it's a private road. You guys really...
Except for the emergency vehicles.
But emergency vehicles, if you read how it reads in your thing, I think it's kind of a gray area because they're not even supposed to plow unless they got to get an emergency vehicle in. Right. But if the road is built to substandards, just like you have, that road-based standard, it's no different than what we have out there now, other than tar on it. There's nothing, there's no difference.
Except for the number of houses.
But it's still the same quality, right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I get it.
And so if we build it the same quality, I'll just leave you with this. If we build it the same quality, there's really no impact to the town. There's no unsafetiness. And if there's a road maintenance agreement, I would think that the folks on the road are going to want to make sure that the road stays nice. And if it's built nice to begin with, if you drive down that road now, and it's as old as it is, and if I'm down there building now, I would welcome you to drive down it, and then you maybe have a little better feel, you know. So I appreciate that.
So you're selling the lots?
No. So my daughter's down there now.
Yeah.
The first house that I sold, the folks are still there. Well, actually, Bob Briggs lived there first. He sold it to family that's there now. My daughter and my son-in-law, my two grandsons are there. I'm building my house right as we speak. And then I'm saving the other two lots for my other two sons. So I don't plan on going nowhere. I'm 63 years old. I'm retiring right here. So,
James,
to
is
your
that something
point.
that would have to go back through planning before it comes back
Yeah,
to us?
my recommendation would be, because there was a discussion, it was like a 20-minute discussion with the board, go back through some of those concerns. Maybe worth an agenda item as a workshop item with the planning board and Envision
Yeah.
Berwick.
Maybe do what you.
Yeah, just drop that lot onto their agenda, have them just take a look at it, and then, you know, see what can come back.
We're
this
definitely
way.
open to looking at it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah. And again, I don't think it's no impact to the town as far as liability. I mean, it really isn't. It's no worse than any other road. It's a private road. You know what I mean? Just as long as it's built to the standards that we allow now prior to tar.
Okay.
So,
Thank you very much for your comments.
thank you.
All right. I will close the first public comment. We have no
Thank you.
Have a
public
good night.
hearings or approvals. We have no reports of committees, no department reports, no appointments, no current unfinished business. Town manager report.
I wanted to provide an update with the water over the past week, with the dam being let go as it does typically during this season. We had a high rain event, caused some significant challenges for our water plant. One of our filters, we have two big filters. One of them was not operating efficiently, and we were basically operating with one filter for close to a week. And what happens is when one filter is not operating properly, we just send that right out to waste. Our standpipe capacity is 80 feet of water, which is over 1 million gallons. When it's below 50 feet, that's when we start seeing the pressure issues around the standpipe in the Fox Ridge area. The water is tested in regular occurrence at the plant. So there's a faucet where the water that's being sent out is tested on a regular basis. No water leaving the plant has been measured above health advisory levels for either manganese or turbidity, which are the two main ones we measure regularly. Manganese can cause discoloration. We've had some reports on discoloration Friday, Saturday. Even when it's below the health advisory levels, it can cause discoloration. And the plant has been operating back to status quo with both filters since Friday. So discoloration should run through the system. The issues that we found, we replaced a pump, we replaced one of the chemical feed lines, and that helped get the filter back online.
So, James, I have a question, because it's been brought up. So, there really was no danger to the public in regards to the water, but there was discoloration because we had a water event, a lot of rain and whatnot. How did we notify people of that? Because we just sat here 2 weeks ago and talked about better communication. It doesn't sound like there was a concern for residents other than the discoloration, but did we get the word out that we aware that there's been a high water event and that there may be some discoloration, but it's being tested regularly and everything is fine? I didn't get any text, I didn't get any phone, and so I'm just, my concern is, we've already agreed we need to be better at communicating, we need to get the word out better.
Did you get the word out?
With everything that was going on the past week, it was such a moving target. So for me, I had a hard time really pinpointing.
What are we going to
What
do
is-
then in the future to get the word out? Do we have something in place yet?
We do have some channels that we can.
We talked about this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
And,
Exactly, that's my concern,
well,
because,
2 weeks is a pretty short time to get something like that up and running, system-wide.
but the
No,
text,
but even-
but the text
but even
system was
throw-
already running, because I got one the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's available. And we were saying, is we just didn't use it. When, we all know we're having some issues with the water, and we all know the townspeople are concerned about it. So we should really be, even when it's something like this, that, again, it's just a matter of communicating. We were aware of it, we're on top of it, and just being a little bit more, communicative to people so that they don't worry, so they don't come in here and say, well, no one told me.
Well,
Have one of them big horns you go out and
I'm
pull,
just curious. I mean, like,
blast out
can we
across
use
downtown.
that text system
We got
for
issues.
essentially? I mean, I understand what you're both are trying to convey. In this particular sense, it was a non-event that from outside could appear to be an event. So it's not really an emergency. Can we use the system to basically say there isn't an issue, that there is no emergency, or
I think in hindsight that probably could have been.
You could have just
Just as
said.
an FYI.
And the reason why I'm pointing it out is because it's been at the tip of so many people in the town's thing that the water. We know that, so why are we just give them the information? Don't hold it back. Just
Yeah.
put it out there and just say, we know there's been some discoloration because we were down to one filter, but we're on top of it. We're fixing it. This is what we're doing, and then you're always going to get those people that are going to complain. But at least some people are like, okay, at least they're telling us what's going on.
But they shouldn't have a problem with their water. The town should be providing them with good water and none of this bullshit we're going through. That's the bottom line. They're paying for it, and they should be provided with it. And we're not doing that. We haven't done it for quite a while, Tom.
Yeah, I know.
Get a while,
And
but-
that's why we're working on everything.
Yeah,
new.
but we got.
It-
I think somehow we got to educate these people to understand we are working on it.
Right.
That's another way of communicating with them or something. I don't know, but it's dragged on for 2 town managers, 3 town managers,
5 town
5 town
managers, and I'll
managers.
tell you.
I mean, it just not
was
good.
the only affected area? Was it like a localized effect, just like that at the edges of the water service? Is that where it was, or was it a town-wide issue?
It seemed like it popped up in various areas.
It wasn't because I was on the lookout for it, but I didn't see a lot of talk about it or anything like that. I didn't see a lot of. It seemed like it was kind of isolated to certain
The
areas.
pressure was localized to that, and the discoloration seemed to be in different areas throughout the system.
Okay.
So the standpipe, is that full now, or is
Yeah,
it in the
that's-
process of filling it? The
Yeah,
pump is
that's-
working. And
Yep, it's been we've been filling it since Friday. When we had one filter, we're basically losing a foot or two from the
Right.
standpipe. We're trying to keep pace with the demand, but it's like every day you're kind of losing a foot or two. But with 2, yeah, we're back where we need to be.
Did we have a water ban on this summer? To not water lawns and things like that?
No, we never
We
did.
didn't?
We didn't necessarily have an issue with quantity.
Yep. So we had no issue with quantity.
It was the incoming quantity that was the issue. It was that
Yeah,
it was that it
Incoming
was just
quality.
so
Oh, I know.
low.
I
Yeah,
know what it is.
but
I'm glad to be done with it.
Yeah.
Bunch of bullshit. Sick of this water.
Yeah, I'll love more on in new business. I just had other news. They have good news is the drainage project. So you saw the Great Falls construction in Cantwell. They put in those 60-inch stormwater pipes. We have a project to upgrade our infrastructure to get to the Salmon Falls River, and the cost estimate came back on budget, which is the first time I've heard that in a while. So we're aiming to do that project in 2023, and then the street realignment and sidewalk project, the CAX project, scheduled for 2024. So those are 2 projects that are related. So that's on schedule.
So that means you'll close off Wilson Street, replace the one under Wilson Street, and we'll close off the intersection here.
Yeah, they're two separate projects. The one on Wilson Street will probably happen in the springtime.
Okay.
And then also, in related, School Street at some point, we'll get the word out. They're going to need to bring in a water line in the next few weeks.
The temporary water line to supply.
No, they're bringing in a water line for the new building. Well, actually, it's permanent.
Oh,
yeah.
permanent
The whole
line
project?
coming into the site,
Yep.
okay.
So where are we at looking for, brings you back to communication, you said you were gonna look at signage, like having a large thing, if we're gonna be closing a road, give people a heads up in advance? Did we get any quotes on our prices for one of those signs?
I did not.
Okay.
Right. Do you want me to? Yeah. So you want to find money for 2 of those? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, find money any way you can.
I don't think it's gonna be a big deal. They're not gonna be that much money. Most of them right now are solar.
Yeah.
Okay. Last piece, the Route 4 safety study kickoff is scheduled for November 1st at 10 o'clock. I think we'll meet in Salmon Falls Nursery.
So it's November 1st,
Yep.
10 o'clock.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
No, I won't be here. I might be here.
You're gonna meet in your office and you won't be here.
Jesus
Yeah, make
Christ.
sure
Well,
that.
I know, I thought it was gonna be last week. We talked about it.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll catch up with you
When
next.
do we vote? The second?
Yes.
I won't be here. James, we'll have to redo
Well,
it.
the-
Okay.
You can have it. I can let him know you can use the office if you want.
I'll catch
He'll
up
be
with
there,
you
but I
tomorrow.
won't be there.
Okay. That's,
So are you gonna reschedule it?
Well, if he wants to,
Yeah, we'll probably. I'll
I won't
catch
be
up with you
here all
tomorrow.
week.
Okay.
Okay. I think I'm right. Ask my wife. I'm not sure.
That's all I got. For now.
Oh, boy.
All right, any questions for the town manager on anything he discussed there? All right, moving on to the approval of accounts payable and payroll warrants, if I can pick it up. Okay. We have a payroll warrant from October 18th, 2022, number 24, in the amount of $75,242.33. We have a payroll warrant from October 18th, 2022, number 25, in the amount of $53.83. We have a payroll warrant from October 25th, 2022, number 26, in the amount of $235.49. And we have an accounts payable warrant from October 25th, 2022, number 27, in the amount of $448,019.10. And a payroll warrant from October 25th, 2022, number 28, in the amount of $74,646.41. I make the motion that we pay our bills.
Second.
All those in favor? All right. Patty, I don't think it matters, but on a couple of these payroll things, they say 4OWN of Berwick. Just a typo. Instead of the word town, it says 4OWN.
Oh. Do you hear that, Lisa?
Yes, I heard that.
Thank you.
Just seeing if you're awake.
All right. Under new business, first we have the Somersworth Berwick interconnections for water. James.
So this request is specifically to get a vote from the board to move forward with a temporary emergency interconnection if we end up needing one before we can more formally connect with a permanent interconnection. So this would allow us to create a temporary interconnection to be able to hook into Somersworth's water, and they could pump it right into our water system. So
I'll make a motion that we give James, the town manager, permission to authorize him to develop an agreement with the city of Somersworth to interconnect our water plants.
I'll second it.
I got a question. What is the cost associated with this?
Uh,
Or is there? I mean,
so this would just be moving forward with the city of Somersworth. So there'd be costs associated with working within railroad, because we'd have to cross the railroad, and they've agreed to allow us. So there's certain specs that we have to build it to, and then we have to buy a metal sleeve. So
So do we, just a ballpark figure, know approximately how much it?
I don't have a ballpark, but I can bring it back.
So
Okay.
I was
And
going to
this
say, are we
is
voting to give you the
to-
authorization to like
Explore
explore this
Right.
and bring it back?
Yeah, and
Okay.
this is
Okay.
and this is so there's two projects for interconnection. There's a permanent interconnection that's being engineered, and I mean, that'll be much more expensive because it'll be a permanent interconnection.
So this is just temporary if needed?
Yeah,
And what about the city of Somersworth? Are they gonna charge us?
they would
Charge us for water.
they would
assuming.
charge us. We would
Right.
be basically become. I believe what would happen. We'd basically become like a customer. We'd pay the going rate and have to pay for the
Yeah.
meter and all that.
Do we
So-
have the going rate?
After what?
Do we have the going rate? Do we know what that
Oh, I
is?
don't know.
I'll bring that back.
Okay.
The city manager is bringing it forward to the council at their next meeting.
So just to be clear, this is basically just authorizing you to have the ability to negotiate and get the information and make all the plans.
And bring it back?
And
Yeah.
we'll still, we and or the town itself will
It might
have
have to be
to
the town
still
to vote
approve
on.
the expenditures.
Yes.
All right.
Got it.
Okay,
Okay,
perfect.
that
All right,
makes more
so
sense.
there has been a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor? All right.
We always had a permanent connection
Well,
until
So
they
the bridge.
replaced the bridge. And Somersworth didn't want to,
they didn't want to deal with it.
They didn't wanna deal with it.
We wanted to put all the sleeves in
we
at
wanted to
that
put all the
time,
sleeves in, all the bullshit we
with
needed.
water connection, gas
Maybe
connection, electrical connections, and they turned us all down at that time.
Next, we have 10 School Street driveway easement.
So this amendment adds some covenants, and it just it adds detail about maintenance responsibilities within that driveway. Since this is a pretty substantial change, it made sense for the board to re-vote on it and re-sign it. And my plan is to have this recorded at the registry tomorrow, and then the closing is Thursday.
Do we have a copy of that easement?
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
I remember seeing
Today?
it.
Is it, was
we
there
had
any
one
email that I missed
online.
that one?
Yeah, we had a.
I didn't have it in the packet materials.
We had a
What happens to the 350,000 that go to Patty to
It goes to the general fund.
He's like,
goes to the
what?
general fund?
It goes to
Yeah, that's what they're-
Or do we don't have to pay for
it goes to pay towards the bond.
the fire department bond?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
So we're going to put a lump sum on it, 350,000 on the fire department bond, where it's
Whatever's
going.
left
Yeah, I
from
don't have it on either one.
everything else, yeah.
Yeah, the driveway easement is the thing that he emailed to us. So I'm looking
Oh,
at
it came from James.
Yes.
I got it.
It has to be signed. You can run over and print it. Can you forward it to me?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, I just went through my patty notes and I didn't have I missed that one.
Yeah, basically, it's just the agreement between the new owners and Dave Vashon, correct?
It's actually from us to the
To
Vashons.
the Vashon.
Yep. Yeah, easement for the purpose of maintaining the driveway for ingress and egress by foot and by vehicle from School Street for a certain tract of parcel between the Vashons located at 12 School Street and further described in the deeds. And that goes into
Yeah,
great
no, it looks
length
pretty
about all that.
straightforward. I just wanted to make sure. Did you want to see it?
No,
Yeah.
because once you said
Can I
it,
see
and
it
then
for
I
a
remember that
Okay.
I did read it.
Okay.
I'm like,
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks pretty straightforward. I just
once you started, you said James, and then I'm like, I know I got 3 from James, and I was like,
that was nope.
Okay,
I just
that was it.
missed that. It was my fault. You should.
So
really
Patty will
good
bring
at-
that back for us to sign, but in the meantime, I will entertain a motion on this easement.
I'll make a motion that we enter into an easement for 10 School Street driveway.
Now, second the motion.
Any further questions? All those in favor? There we go. Next, we have the bids for the Memorial Field courts.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
James, how'd it go?
So we put out bid specs that we had from quote we had when Angela went on and sourced some quotes. So for 3/4 binder, and we got a quote from Gorham Sand and Gravel for amount of $69,450. Libby Scott for $38,980. Main Tennis and Track, $80,500. They provided an alternate quote for $74,620, and then Pave Tech was $47,340. So the low bid was Libby Skiles at $980. A couple of these companies added in an alternative to include a 1-inch surface coat, and they recommended for the playing surface. But the bid specs was specifically towards the 3/4 binder. So
When will this happen?
this springtime,
It's what?
in the spring.
Springtime.
In the spring?
Yep.
So the additional top layer is to finish everything off, to find playing surface and get it all prepped for, everything to be installed and striped and everything.
Stripes, yep.
So with the additional, Libby Scott comes in at $59,350.
And I think we should go ahead with Libby Scott
Do you think that we should do the additional or
with the additional.
with the
Yeah.
additional? I also lean toward the additional and getting it done, right the first time. Did they give you any particular specs on
That was
difference
gonna be
in
my
time
question.
frame? Like if we did the 3/4 versus the additional 1-inch, did they give you this will last 5 years, this one will last 20
Yeah,
years?
the 3/4 they said it will last 5 years, and I believe the 1-inch surface extends it. I believe it was another 10 years. Or
And we could always seal it to make it last longer too if we had an extra few
Down
bucks.
the road, yeah. And do we have enough money to cover the bid with the additional?
I thought we had 60,000.
we
We
do.
have several
We
pots
do.
of money to
Yeah.
draw from, correct?
Yep.
And we got 59,350, so
We have the original money that was budgeted for the rec project, and we have the impact fees.
TIF fees.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we go with Libby Scott paving to do the paving for the basketball and pickleball court with the additional 1-inch.
I'll second it.
$59,350.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay. All right. We have no quick claim deeds or installment contracts, no abatements, no public for a second public comment. We do have 2 executive sessions scheduled. Those will occur outside of the normal meeting, and no decisions will be made in those meetings, so we will not be making any votes coming out of, we'll be coming back out of the meeting. So any other business, non-agenda items?
I have a couple of things I want to bring up.
Please.
The swap shop at the transfer station. Everybody heard about, how popular it is and everything. The difficulty we're having with opening it up and keeping it manned. We have it open on Tuesdays with the help from the school people, which is working out really well, but there's a lot of people that want it open more often. I don't know if we want to ask to form a committee to look at it or just discuss it ourselves about hiring somebody specifically to run the swap shop in the next budget.
We've been here before, right? We've done this and got rid of the swap shop, and then now we're back to it. So we got rid of it, and now people want to go back to the swap shop.
Well, the problem they had before was that, the guys that run the transfer station don't have time to sit and watch it.
Right.
And what was happening is, and Hokey showed it to me a couple different times, people come with furniture especially, find out that you have to pay for it, and then turn right around and drop it off in front of the swap shop. So we end up throwing it away anyways and don't get the fees. There's been talk about how people hang around there all the time. Well, I don't have a problem with people hanging around there as long as they're not impeding traffic. And they talk about people taking things and reselling. And I have absolutely no problem with that personally.
That's what they're gonna
If it's
do.
keeping it out of our garbage stream and we're not paying for it, and
Let
they're
'em
making
have
a
it.
few cents. I'm sure these guys aren't making tons of money on it.
I don't know. My wife made some good money selling trash before.
Are we going to have to pay someone to be at the swap shop?
Well, that's
That's
what
what
I
I was
think
trying
we
to
need to
revisit.
discuss in our next budget, is whether we need to do something like that. Is, you know,
Does the swap-
it maybe have some surveys out for the townspeople before the budget goes through and just ask if, no, that's what they're looking for. Is because it is. I don't take advantage of it, but I drop stuff off there. You know, is I try to get rid of junk. I don't collect it.
Yeah, well, I think people drop stuff off with the good intention of, I don't want this anymore, but maybe somebody
Right.
has a use for it.
Right. And, so I think that, no, that's something that we should be discussing, you know, in the coming months. And so, like I said, maybe we put out a survey. You know, maybe we can get kind of short notice that for the election. You know, just a simple one-question survey. Would you be willing to pay to have the shop open or something?
No, I do like that idea because maybe that will change your mind. Whether it's, hey, do we get volunteers run it, or if we were going to pay,
Well,
does the
it-
town
the
mind? You know,
problem-
just come up with a rough. It's part-time work. It's
The
just
problem I have with volunteers
is you don't have to hold them to
we
it.
have to have somebody with authority to enforce
Yeah.
the rules. And if you have a volunteer, you can't count on them to enforce the rules. Is they, you know, and so there's somebody needs to be somebody there with some authority saying this is the way it is. You know, you've been here for 2 hours, parked right there. Get the heck out of here. You know, whatever.
Somebody with authority, somebody with skin in the game,
Right.
to do the job right.
And,
you know?
and obviously, it doesn't need to be full time because the transfer
No.
station's not open full time.
Right.
So, a part-time position, you know, paying whatever the going rates are. Well, you know, man, woman, child, I don't care as long as they're you know,
Swap shop help.
Yeah,
Whatever the go rate is.
but you know, it's something that we need to discuss.
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing I think we need to discuss, you know, before we get into the budget season, goes back to the water issue and communications. Do we need to hire somebody that is specifically there to do the communications, to do the website, to do the outreach, things like that?
Yeah.
You know, we're getting to that point where I think that it's being demanded of us. But then again, no, that's another paid position.
Yeah, but it's only means being demanded is because we're supplying a bad product.
No, it's not just. It's
No,
not
I
just.
think
It's
just
not
no.
just.
I think
water.
Parks and Rec could really use it.
Oh,
I
so
think, you know, I think
not
there's
just
a
the
lot.
water, so
Right,
the
the
whole,
whole
the
town.
whole town.
The whole
Oh, I get
town.
that's a good
You know,
idea.
it
Yep.
is, you know, is like, you know,
Social
trying
media,
to
but
collect
the website
information
itself.
from each department. And the department heads are busy doing their
Yeah.
job. They don't really have that time built into their schedule to go onto the website and do this stuff. But if there's somebody in-house that was able to go there and say, hey, what's going on this week? Or what do we have coming up this week?
Updating calendars,
Right, exactly.
You know,
You know,
newsletters, other various forms of
Yeah.
media.
So
That's
I
good
think
idea.
that's something else we need to discuss before the budget season.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's
Because even if that's part-time, 'cause
Right,
I know a lot
exactly.
of them that will do it, 20, 25 hours a week.
Exactly.
Or they'll do it on an hourly as-needed basis, and literally every week they produce an invoice that says, hey, I did an hour for the PD, I did 2 for the town, I did this and
Yep.
that, here's my invoice for this week.
Those are a couple issues I think we need to discuss coming into the budget season.
Yep, yeah,
That's a
absolutely.
good idea,
points.
Tom.
I have one more thing, and this is totally is I've had several calls about Halloween, trick or treat, and trunk or treat, and why people get upset about the dates and times. I have no idea.
Because they remember how it used to be.
Well, the thing is trunk or treat is Saturday, correct?
Yeah.
Is traditional trick or treating is Sunday, and Halloween is Monday.
Well,
Is
traditional
I just want to say to the
trick-or-treating
people
is
out there that
Sunday.
complain that trick or treating's on Halloween is 40 some years ago when I was in my 20s. I discussed this with somebody in town that was in their 80s that lived there all their lives, and I asked them, why do we do it the night before? And they explained that originally it was beggars' night, and you went around and you knocked on people's door and you asked for something, and if they didn't give you something, you came back the next night, Halloween, to
And
do
played
the
the
trick
trick.
on them.
Right,
You
that's,
know? And so, as far as I know, it's been going on for more than 100 years. So that's why it's the night before.
And when I was a kid in my town, we always did it on the night of Halloween. Whether that was a Tuesday or whatever, that was the day we did it. And, it's just, everybody,
Yeah, we always
everybody's
did
a
it
little bit
one.
different.
I always did
I
it one.
Here we got three,
personally
right?
prefer it this way.
Kids can't wait.
I think it works out for everybody.
Shows all your
Right.
candy
Well,
at
and the
stores.
people complaining about, no, well, trunk or treats this day, trick or treats that. Go to most of them.
Yeah,
No,
and
and
then
so-
go to a party on Halloween night and actually have a, you don't have to worry about kids
Yeah.
coming in.
Yeah, and I think the reason why they tried to do trick or treat the day before this year is because it is Saturday, and last year they had vehicles that couldn't participate because of trick or treating, and they had places that didn't want to be in both. So they wanted to try to do trick or
Right,
treat
exactly.
separately.
Yeah, last year
Which-
we went trick or treating, and then my wife took
Yep.
my daughter to the
Across-
trick or treat,
yep.
which was very busy as well. But
Yep.
it's like I got two other smaller kids, so we had to divide our efforts. This way is a little more
Mm-hmm.
streamlined. So I think it works out best this way.
Yeah, and we'll see. And if it doesn't work out, that'll be feedback for next year that they can, they can try it again.
Nobody comes to my house either. If they did, they get
You don't know what the scary part
If they did, they'd get a full-size candy bar. Well, they have to go up my 600-foot driveway to get it. So if they walk up that, they get two.
I'll be there.
All right. So I move that we enter executive session for Title I, 4056A for discussion of personnel, and Title I, 4056C for the discussion of real estate.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? All right. We are now into executive session.
I'm gonna have to